Hey everybody, Marcus C. Williams here. And as you guys know, I'm running for city council. So take 2 seconds, hit the share button, hit the heart button, and share this out with your friends, your family, and everything. Early voting has already begun. So I encourage you, get out, go vote for me. And you can actually go on my website, Marcus the number 4, Rochester.com. And there's a link to show you where your voting place is if you want to figure out where your voting place is for regular election day. Now, I want to talk to you tonight about some very important things because this will probably be one of my last longer broadcasts specifically on the city of Rochester before the election. I want to appreciate you all for your support, and I want to encourage you guys, please donate. We've only got a couple of days left. I want to get some last minute ads out there to spread them around to the people to get the word out, and I need your help. So you can either scan the QR code on this side of the screen, or you can go to my website, Marcus the number 4, Rochester.com, and donate there whatever you can, whether it's $25 or $500, whatever you can. Please donate. We need them in the closing days. Now, let's jump into it. I'm running for city council because I believe in our city. I've been fighting for our community and advocating for our community for years. This isn't something that's a flash in the pan. I didn't just come out of nowhere. I have been advocating continuously for our city for years because I am a Rochester resident. I am a business owner in Rochester, and I love our city. Our city is very important to me, but it's become an unfortunate reality that so many of us have seen malfeasance by the government here locally, whether it's city council, city hall, or even the county ledge. These are issues that we see all the time. Things not getting addressed by these elected officials who are supposed to address our issues. And I'm not talking about far off people that are in Washington or in Congress, in Capitol Hill, or in the White House somewhere. I'm talking about the people right here in City Hall, on City Council, in the county ledge, that are ignoring our everyday issues like public safety, education, the rising costs of housing, the rising costs of energy. These are things that everybody faces. The terrible roads, the lack of the snow plows actually plowing our streets, stuff like this that we see every single day. These aren't things that have just popped out of nowhere. These are issues that happen and continue to happen every single day, every single year. And what gets done about them? Next to nothing. And it's tragic. And this is why I'm fighting to return the focus on our citizens, because I believe in you. I believe in our future. And I believe that when we work together, we can actually make a difference. But we have to encourage other people to have hope. And I encourage you, have hope, go vote, vote for me. It doesn't matter what your party is, whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, you can vote for me. I'll be on the conservative line. Just look for my name and check my name. I'm not asking you to agree with federal policies. I'm not asking you to agree with the president. Hey, I'm not even asking you to agree with the governor. I'm just asking you to agree with me that what's going on here in our city is insufficient and honestly completely neglectful and downright scornful of us as citizens. There's no reason the streets should be filthy with garbage in many of our neighborhoods. There's no reason the streets should be full of crime. You should be able to walk your child to the park without fear of being assaulted. There was another stabbing right down the street on Columbia the other day, like yesterday. And here's the crazy thing. I've done 5 videos there about the crime, violence, and drugs right there on Columbia and Jefferson. 5 in the same location this year alone, in the last couple of months. It's ridiculous. And you mean to tell me that city council doesn't see what's going on? You mean they don't see the continued growth in the homeless population? That's not an issue. The continued issue with homeless people who have mental instabilities, that's not important to them. You have to start to ask yourself, with millions and millions of dollars coming in for things every year like poverty and homelessness, how come our local city council that's distributing the money and other levels of government here in our city are not distributing it in a manner that it seems to be having any positive impact? There was over $33 million put in Rochester for anti-poverty measures last year. Where's the money? Where are the results? There's more poverty now more than ever. And there are more young people that I've seen now more than ever. There are more first-time homeless people now more than ever. There are more families struggling now more than ever. What is being done? And these are the serious questions that we have to start asking ourselves and we have to actually look into. But nobody's holding anybody accountable on city council. City council is supposed to overlook also our funds as taxpayers that go to the city school district. But we see right now the city school district isn't even paying the teachers. And this has been going on for months. And it's not just the teachers, you guys. It's other staff in the school district that's not being paid either. And that's our taxpayer money. Why isn't city council standing up and doing their fiduciary responsibility? That means that they're supposed to look after our money in our best interest. Why aren't they doing that? Why isn't city council doing that? That's why I'm running. Because we all see the same things. I don't expect you to agree with me on everything, but there are many things that we see every single day that we all agree on. And this stuff with the school district right now, and the fact that city council won't say anything, they won't speak up, they won't do an investigation into what's going on. You know, I don't need to be any sort of a genius to say, okay, well, if a payroll software is the crux of the problem, switch the payroll software back, cut paper checks, whatever the case is. But this has been going on for months. And where is the money? Nobody's showed me that we actually have the money that's supposed to be set aside for these teachers, for these staff members. And the money continues to grow and grow and grow. Where's the money? Take 2 seconds and share this video. Hit the like button or drop a comment below to help support and get the word out. Because these are the issues that we're seeing every single day. This is why I'm running. We are chronically neglected. I've been advocating for years for public safety. I've been advocating for years for real solutions for our city that will help move us all forward together in a positive way. I can't control what goes on at the federal level. I can't control what goes on in the White House, but I can work and focus on what's going on here. That's why I'm running, because it's very clear whenever we have an issue that's going on in our city, city council or the mayor or the county ledge, they'll deflect and they'll say, oh, well, it's the federal government. Well, wait a second. If everything is the federal government and nothing is on you, what exactly is your job? These are the serious questions we need to ask. What exactly is the job of city council if everything is a responsibility of the federal government? You understand what I'm saying? The roads are terrible. And they only like to seem to fix them when it's election year. But if the roads are supposed to last 10 years, how come every time it's an election year, do the roads seem to need to be fixed? But it's not even every single time it's an election year because the roads are consistently terrible. We've got the best and the brightest minds in our country right here in our backyard. We've got the U of R, Cornell's not too far, RIT is right here. And we've got some of the best SUNY schools in the nation. You mean none of them have any concept of any ideas that can improve the way that we maintain our roads to actually stop costing our citizens thousands and thousands of dollars every year in things like tire rotations, new axles, new calipers, okay? Stuff like this really impacts people, especially those that are living paycheck to paycheck or are working and struggling to take care of their family. If you tell me that you care, show me that you care. And we're not seeing that from city council. They don't care about us, but you matter to me. And that's why I'm running. And I encourage you to vote for me for city council. As far as the roads go, one of the biggest issues with that is the maintenance of them. The roads are supposed to last 10 years. It's very clear that they don't last a year, maybe two, you know. Now they've got this whole new design where they're just putting gravel down. They don't even put any blacktop on the gravel, and they don't even tamp down the gravel. They just say, oh, well, loose stones and let all the cars roll over it and let the stones mess up your undercarriage and your tires and the side of your paint and your house and punch people in the eye while they're walking down the street because rocks are flying everywhere. That's not acceptable. That's malfeasance. They're not addressing this as an issue. Now, what I would do in that case to address this issue is I'd put together $10,000, moonshot contest, and I'd open it up to the general public, but specifically focus it on RIT, U of R, and any of the other surrounding colleges. And I'd have them submit ideas with $10,000 going to the winner of the best idea to keep our roads maintained in a cost-effective manner that's actually long time stable. See, these are the type of simple, practical things that I support. Real solutions that are cost effective. But we don't get that from city council. We don't. We don't get them to address any of the issues. We've got a food desert issue in our city, right? Like everybody knows that. They've been talking about it for years. Oh, the food desert. Oh, the food desert. Oh, the food desert. What's been done? We've had more stores and more shopping places close in our city since they started saying, oh, we've got a food desert issue. You know, these are things that need to be addressed. These are things that need to be addressed. We used to have Wegmans over there on Mount Hope. Wegmans is gone. They put some other little shopping store in there that was supposed to be a grocery store. They're gone. We had the Tops on Lake Avenue. They're gone. You know, we had various Rite Aids and stuff in our city. All of the Rite Aids are gone. Almost all of the Walgreens are gone too. Can we have this serious conversation? What is being done about the food deserts issue? Nothing. And we know that with the food deserts being an issue, right now, more than ever, the cost of food is a serious issue. Well, what are we doing to actually help our citizens? Nothing. They blame the federal government. Oh, it's the federal government's problem. Or, oh, well, we'll give some money to these nonprofits with no KPIs. That's key performance indicators to show that they actually were able to do something, right? They're not showing anything. They're not showing any progress. They're not showing that they did anything. There aren't even any KPIs from the city to actually monitor where the money is going and seeing if it's being impactful and effective. These are conversations we need to have. But do you think that they really actually care? No. So here's some solutions that I have for that. What we need to do is we need to focus on two things. We need to bring back the concept of victory gardens. Victory gardens are gardens that you have at your own home where you can grow a number of different vegetables and foods and stuff like that at your own home. The city could sponsor that, but they just gave like $2 million to is $1 million. They gave $1 million to some nonprofit to do community gardens. There aren't all those community gardens in the world for $1 million. Stop playing in my face. You understand what I'm saying? Hit the like button, hit the share button, get out, make sure you vote for Marcus C. Williams for Rochester City Council this year. Early voting is open. Election day is November 4th. Share this video, drop a comment, help the algorithm. So as we talk about these solutions, victory gardens is the solutions. The garden that you can put at your house. This will help a number of residents, and those residents that have leftover food could, well, help others, right? Like that's the sense of community that we need to be fostering. Community members helping other members in the community. But are we actually looking towards that? No. The second solution would be also focusing a program from the city to help them get it together. Like the city doesn't have to continue with it. It can be a community-driven project, but the city should focus on getting off the ground a program where it helps the citizens buy meat in bulk, like beef or like poultry, right? Like we get all of this money for food into the city, and then where does the money go? So what we do is we can take the citizens that would like to participate in such a program and say, hey, we're going to buy cows. We're going to buy chickens. Who would like to put money in a pot to buy some chickens? Who would like to put money in a pot to buy some cows? So we can have meat in our city. And what we would do is we'd put the money into a trust type situation. The amount of money that you put into the trust would be the like shares in a trust. Think of it like that. And then that's how much meat that you would get out of the receipt of the meat, of the poultry and the beef. So this is a real concept. This is something that can really be done. There are already friends and family that I know that have where we go out, we go half on a cow or something like that. Like, this is a real thing. We've got dozens of farms here locally that produce poultry, that produce beef. And we can actually help them and keep the money here locally, which means that it's going to be more likely to circulate in our local economy, which is another serious problem that we have, is the flight of capital from our area. Not just the city, but the whole Monroe County region. And this is a real solution, something that's really tangible, that's cost effective and impactful, that we could do in our city. But what city council solutions? They don't have any solutions. And this is the crazy part. So I'm presenting to you real solutions that are tangible, that are cost effective, and that can be implemented. Real things. That's what I'm about. And again, I don't expect you to agree with me on absolutely everything, but I promise you all of the legislation that I'm going to put forth is going to be real, impactful, and achievable. And that's what I'm about. Because we get too many empty promises on homelessness, empty promises on drugs, empty promises on the schools. The schools have been an empty promise for everyone for decades, stealing away the future of our children. And what does city council do about that? Nothing. They don't even say anything. They're like, oh, let's just throw some more money at them. Can we be real? And we know that the quality of the education ends up leading towards more crime and more violence. And we know that the quality of the education ends up leading to economic issues if it's not quality education. Like, can we talk about that? How are we going to have job placement from schools if the kids are graduating and they're functionally illiterate? By the way, you guys, our school system is the second highest funded district in the world, in the country. Okay. And it's $1.4 billion. Okay. $1.4 billion, the second highest funded school district in the nation. So don't let them ever tell you they don't have enough money. It's all lies. It's that they don't spend our money in a fiscally responsible manner. Then on top of that, we've got the second lowest proficiency rate in the nation. Not in the state, in the nation. In the state, we're the lowest proficiency rate in the state. Second lowest in the nation. What are we doing if we're spending more money than all the other districts in the country? Make it make sense. You mean there are people that get way less money per student? Way less money per student? Even, and see, this is an important concept that people need to realize. Even the suburban schools in the surrounding districts get less per pupil than the city does. So why are our schools so messed up? Clearly, it's not about the money. But is city council doing a look into that or anything like that? No, they can't be bothered. Why bother? But they've got a fiduciary responsibility to us as taxpayers, and city council isn't even upholding that. Hit the like button, hit the share button, help get this message out there, okay? Because we need to encourage more people to vote this year and vote for me, Marcus C. Williams, for Rochester City Council. Doesn't matter what your party is, you can vote for me. Now, as we have these serious conversations, it's frustrating, you guys, when we talk about the issues with the education, and I'm going to come back to the education in a minute, because what upsets me the most is that for years and years and years, we have had so many empty promises and so many things that they tell us that they're going to do on city council that never materialize. And even though we get tens of millions of dollars every year allocated, all of these funds allocated for this, allocated for that, we don't ever see any positive real result. We see different neighborhoods, like they're redeveloping downtown. I live in the Southwest. I didn't ask them to redevelop downtown. I have neighbors over here who need help, that money invested in helping them fix up their properties. You understand what I'm saying? Like, why do I care about what's going on downtown? People don't live downtown. Oh, wait, they're moving people in downtown and they're building up downtown instead of building up our communities. They're out here doing this tens of millions of dollars for a skate park, when over here at Troop Street Park, we got ratty holes in all of the soccer nets and there's big holes in the ground. Okay, you go over on Clinton. Okay, you could try to go over to a park over there. Everything's riddled with needles. You understand what I'm saying? But we want to put in a skate park. Who is that skate park for? It's not for a focus on us as citizens, not on scale. When we got ratty behind city parks, you understand what I'm saying? Like, this is a issue with focus and an issue with focused investment. Where is it focusing on our actual community members? But they got more money to put up high cost housing, when what we really need is money to actually encourage home ownership. What we really need is them to put in policies that prevent foreigners from all the way across seas that aren't even stateside from buying up all our property. There's no reason somebody in China should be buying property in our city. There's no reason why somebody from Germany should be buying property in the city. They don't even live here. Why is that happening? And we're selling off all our family homes, single family homes, double homes, to investors that are not even local to this nation, more or less even local to this region. And then we wonder why the property prices are going crazy. In the area in which I live, there's a house not too far from me down the street. It's $200,000. That house 5 years ago was $80,000. But clearly they put it up there for $200,000 because they believe they can get $200,000, and the house, even at present market, might be worth $130,000. But it shows you that this is putting prices of housing further and further out of reach for our citizens. What's City Council doing about that? Nothing. Oh, we're going to build a couple of houses that cost us $500,000 to build, which are less square footage than the average house that's here. Wait, let me get this straight. You're spending $500,000 per unit to build these things? And that doesn't even go to talk about the affordable housing units that they're spending $500,000 of your tax money to build these units that are one-bedroom apartments and studios. And City Council is okay with this because City Council is supposed to be our advocates to the state level. So when state funding comes here, we should be focusing on home ownership. We should be focusing on people that want to move from renting into getting a home. We should be focusing on families that are struggling. We should be focusing on that. But are they? No. They should be advocating to the state level for money for those type of programs. But it's not happening. We continue to get overlooked. We continue to get underserved because what are they doing? Looking after their investors, looking after the people who are funding their campaigns. I'm running a grassroots campaign so that I can work and represent you, not non-local businesses, not these foreign investment companies, okay? Not these scandalous nonprofits that continue to rape and pillage our city, to represent you. We need at least one real representative on City Council because we got none right now. I'm fit to be tired because, as I said, if we had at least one, maybe some of these issues that are consistent issues would get addressed. And that's why I'm running, and that's why I'm proposing to you guys real solutions. So please hit the like button, hit the share button, share this out there on your page, in groups and stuff like that, and drop some comments. Even if you just drop a heart or a thumbs up in the comment, it helps the algorithm. So take 2 seconds and do that. Let's get into some of the issues with the crime and some of the solutions that I've got going on. So I'm all about the real solutions that are practical, implementable, feasible, and cost effective. Here goes some. And if you can, please donate. There's a donation link right over here. You can scan it or you can donate right there on the website, marcusnumber4.com. We've got a couple days left. I want to get some more ads out and send some more mailers out. so we can let more people know, so we can win this victory, so I can represent you and we can get some real representation and somebody that's going to listen to us on city council. But you got to get out and vote too. Marcus C. Williams for Rochester City Council. We got to get people out to vote. Now, talking on the crime, they'll tell us the crime is down. Bold-faced lies. We got some of the highest crime in the whole state. Even Mary Lupien came out and said, oh, well, the crime is up all over the country, but it's up a lot here more than other places. When I heard Mary Lupien say that, I was shocked. She's finally admitting it. And that's a beautiful thing, because the first thing to address an issue is to admit that it's a problem. And that's how we need to be moving forward, addressing it as a real serious issue. We've got one of the largest per capita violent crime rates, but they keep saying crime is down. We've got almost 2,000 per 100,000 crime rate of violent crime. That doesn't include all of the petty larceny, the stealing from the stores and stuff like that. That doesn't include all of the carjackings, and that doesn't include all of the car thefts. None of that is included. And we still have really high crime. So what we've seen is a continued reclassification of crime and a continued gaslighting by our elected officials, telling us that everything is fine. Don't believe your lying eyes. Oh, your grandma got mugged yesterday at the bus stop. Don't believe that. That's not a problem. Things aren't bad. What? Who are these people? Where do they live? Like, they say that they're from the community. What part of the community you're from? Some gated facility that you don't know what's going on? Like, when was the last time you walked Jefferson or walked Clinton? Right? When was the last time you walked Chili and you talked to some of the residents about safety? Like, when was the last time you talked to the people on Park Avenue that are having all of their cars broken into? And now Park Avenue has a savage amount of home burglaries. Make it make sense. That's Park Avenue. Park Avenue is having a rash of home burglaries and hundreds of cars broken into. So if that's Park Avenue, you tell me what's going on Jefferson. You tell me what's going on Portland. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Like, if you're going to tell us that crime is down, don't play in our face. These are the serious issues that we have. So vandalism is up. Carjacking is up. Car theft is up. You know what I'm saying? Craziness. What are they doing to address it? They don't want to lock criminals up. They don't want to advocate for us to the state assembly and state senators to change the bail reform laws and change the raise the age laws, which are the laws that are hurting us the most. Maybe they were well intended, but clearly they're not working for us. And they'll tell you, oh, well, it's not the laws, it's the judges that are letting the people out and stuff like that. Well, you know why the judges are letting the people out? Because it's a judge's job to uphold the law, right? A judge can only go work within the parameters of the law. So if the law says that the judge can let them out, it is the law that is the problem. The judge might be a little bit of an issue, but it's the law that is the problem. So why won't you advocate for a closing of those loopholes? You understand what I'm saying? I just was watching a video somebody shared with me the other day. They said that this guy crashed right into them, into them as they were walking on their bike, trying to cross the street. Because, you can't always ride your bike across the street. So they were trying to go through the crosswalk, crashed into them, and then hopped out of the car and fled and had an ankle monitor on. Now, this isn't the first time that I've heard stuff like that. I saw a car crash into a building the other day on the news. The guy ran away, had an ankle monitor on. We've seen all types of crazy stuff. Again, not far from where I live, down off of Jefferson, the guy that had the ankle monitor on Frost shot the guy in the head and killed him. So these are serious issues we're having in our community. But why is it happening? Because people are seeing that crime isn't punished, and they do not see our local elected officials holding the people that are writing these laws accountable. That's their job, you guys. City council is supposed to advocate to us to the next level of government. I've advocated to city council to do that, to hold them accountable, to actually do press conferences every month, at least once a month, to say, hey, these laws are hurting our community. Please go back and amend them. Look at them. See what needs to be changed. But they won't do that. They refuse. We got 1.5 people on city council that even will talk about the issue. It's crazy to me. And it's upsetting and frustrating. These are conversations we need to have, but it's not being had. So what we need to do with that is we need to actually demand accountability from our state elected officials, but it's only going to happen if there's pressure from our local officials. You know why our local officials won't pressure them? Because they're scared they'll get pushed out of office. That's why they won't pressure the state to fix the laws, because they're still scared they'll get pushed out of office, or they'll run somebody against them in another campaign. How are you more concerned about your own position in office than you are about representing our people? And I'll give you a great example of that, and we'll get back to this because I got some other things in relation to the crime I want to give you as proposals and solutions. So I spoke to one of our city council members, okay, Bridget Monroe, at the Lyle Avenue Music Festival, okay? I said, there's this law they passed. It's the sanctuary city law, right? You would think that the sanctuary city law is just about illegal aliens and stuff like that and trying to allow them to stay. No. They put in the law that grown men can be in the bathroom with little girls and women and in the shower facilities for city facilities. So that includes the parks, okay? That includes the rec centers. You mean to tell me that it's okay for grown men to be in bathrooms with little girls and in showers with little girls in city pools? Make it make sense to me. This is a law. Go look it up. Okay, I don't have it in front of me. I thought I had the paperwork. Actually, that's a lie. I do have the paperwork right here. Right here. Here's the paperwork right here. This is the paperwork right here that says that men can be in the bathroom with little girls and in the shower facilities with little girls. This is it right here. Matter of fact, I'll read it to you. I wasn't planning on reading it, but I done got into it. Okay. It shall be unlawful due to discrimination being the owner, lessee, proprietor, manager, superintendent, agent, or employee of any place that's a public accommodation, resort, or amusement to directly or indirectly deny access to a public bathroom, locker room, dressing room, or bathing facility that is designated for a gender that is most consistent or most closely aligned with the patron's gender identity or gender expression. Now, hold on now. That's problematic, and let's talk about it. Why is it problematic? Because it says gender identity or gender expression. It doesn't say both, okay? It doesn't say a dude that thinks that he's a woman and also carries himself like a woman. It says either or. So that means that I could just be a whole man and dress like a woman and go in the bathroom with little girls, okay? Or that could mean that I'm an individual that believes that even though I'm a man, I'm really a woman on the inside, which is honestly a mental issue which needs to be addressed, okay? Because if you were born a boy, you stay a boy, okay? Men are men and women are women. You can't change that. There are only two genders. There are only two sexes. All the rest of that is phooey. But that's not even what my point is on this situation. The point is this. This says that you can't even question whether somebody it actually identifies that way or whether somebody, what actually is gender expression. It says you can't even question that. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. And it's very frustrating. It's very, 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 very frustrating. You know, and it's scary to me that somebody went out of their way and put in it bathing facilities. I've never used the words bathing facility in a sentence in my life. You understand how much extra somebody went in and did on that? If you got kids, if you got grandchildren, if you got nieces and nephews, this is what city council passed 9-0, and they shoved it into the sanctuary city laws. So you would think that it was about illegal aliens, but it's not. Trash. 9-0. And we got somebody on there that calls themselves a Christian preacher. We got somebody on there that calls themselves a Jew. Really? Religious or ethnic? Which one is it? Because these two people that should be men of faith, men of God, clearly are going for nonsense. You understand what I'm saying? We got fathers on city council that voted for this nonsense. Do you want a little girl, your little daughter or your little niece to be in a bathroom with a grown man? And they'll say, oh, well, it's about transgender people and stuff like that. Did it say transgender? Did it say transgender? It didn't say transgender, did it? Okay. It said gender identity or gender expression. It didn't say nothing about trans, nothing right there. So don't tell me what it does and what it doesn't say, because I can read and I got eyes. But did they bring this to the attention of the public? Absolutely not. Of course they didn't, because if they brought this to the attention of the public will flip out. And we need more people to see behind the closed curtains of what city council is doing, because clearly they won't tell us what's going on. And I will definitely be on a gristle to tell you what's going on. Okay? Because this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy and abhorrent. Now, I spoke to Bridget Monroe at the Lilac Festival about this, and I said, you got to go back and change this because the citizens don't want that. And she said to me, out her mouth, bro, out her mouth, well, we're on city council. We do what we want. Excuse me. No, you do not. And this is what I told her. I said, excuse me. And I said it very nicely and very plainly. I said, excuse me, ma'am. No, you do not do what you want. You are supposed to be our representatives. You are supposed to do what we want as the people, not what you want as yourself. And this is a problem, because if this is what you're telling me is something that's positive, why would you hide it? Why wouldn't you tell the people that this is something that you're doing? Call them and find out, because this is for real. This is the stuff that they do behind our backs. And if they would do something as major as this behind our backs, imagine what else they're doing. Imagine what else they're doing. So I encourage you guys, get out, vote for me, Marcus C. Williams, for Rochester City Council. And please do donate if you can, whatever you can, $25 or even $500, whatever you can, so we can get some ads out. It's the last couple of days left. Do what you can. You can donate online right there. Marcus, the number 4rochester.com/donate, or you can scan the QR code right there. Now, as we have this conversation about them doing shady, shysty stuff behind our back, we have to understand that the city council is supposed to represent us. And when they're not even bringing important things like that to our attention, how much more so other things? This is what I'm asking you. If that's supposed to be something that important, of that level of severity, because what's going to end up happening is this is going to open up the city for lots of lawsuits. Because if some man is going to see his daughter in the bathroom, his daughter is going to come out, it's going to be like, there's a guy in there. And it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a whole problem, not a half a problem, a whole problem. And then there's going to be a lawsuit on the city because somebody got caught with their hands on them. You understand what I'm saying? Now we have 1,000, it's 997. I know it's not 1,000 exactly, but 997. So you might as well say we got 1,000 predators in this city that we know about. Okay, that are registered predators, 1,000. Now they're already predators, so you know that they'll take advantage of people. You mean to tell me that you don't think that predators will take advantage of these laws? There are no protections in these laws. None. No protections for age in these laws. If the city council really cared, they'd put some protections in there. There are none. The kids are not safe because city council passed this law. And then people say, oh, well, you're fear mongering or whatever. Who's fear mongering? You know, they said, oh, well, it's about transgender and it's more likely a straight person would do something to a child. Excuse me? Excuse me? I didn't say that this was about transgender people at all. You're the ones that are telling me that a man is a woman and a woman is a man. I didn't say that. I said a man. Okay? I said a man. I didn't say a transgender. I said a whole man. I said, because of the way that the law is, a whole grown man can be in the bathroom with little girls and women, and we can't even question or say anything about that, boo. And you passed that. And I'm supposed to sit by idly when you didn't tell the religious community that, you didn't tell the Black community that, you didn't tell the Puerto Ricans that. So the three biggest communities in the city, you did not tell or discuss that with. Make it make sense. So we need to be questioning stuff like that, but nobody's in there seeing what they're doing. They did this under our noses. Under our noses. And that's the frustrating part of city council, because they can do stuff like this. And now it's a sanctuary city for all of these people and all of this crazy stuff. Okay. But it's not a sanctuary for you as a citizen. Is it a sanctuary for you as a citizen when you can't walk down the street and feel safe? No, it's not. Sanctuary implies safety, but there's no safety for us as average everyday citizens. illegal aliens might have safety. People that claim that they are men but are really women, or women that claim that they're really men, or vice versa, might be good for them. But if you want to walk down to the store with your child, you might get jacked. If you want to go to your car in the morning, you might get robbed. There was a man that was shot in the head as they tried to steal his car while he was in his driveway. Was it a sanctuary city for him? Okay. It's a sanctuary city for criminals, though, because we don't put criminals in jail. But us law-abiding citizens, not a safe haven for us. So it's about priorities. And I believe that you and your safety should be our priorities. I also believe that shady, shicey stuff should not be being done in the darkness. But somebody's got to shine a light on the darkness, and I will be that light. Now I want to go back to crime, and I want to address some of the issues with crime real quick and give you some of my solutions. Please hit the heart button, hit the like, hit the share, get this message out there. And drop a comment, drop a thumbs up or a heart or just a hi, or I support you, or I voted for you, right in the comments. Okay. Also, drink water, stay hydrated. But it's so disgusting, it makes me want to spit. Now, as we have this conversation about public safety, I've got a couple of concerns and a couple of solutions. Right now, we know we don't have enough police. Okay. We also know that it's hard to find police, and it's hard to file police reports. They made it more difficult. You used to be able to do a police report right on the scene, fill it out, all that. Can't do that anymore. Now, if something happens, you got to call in and go downtown to go file a report. Who's got time to do all of that? Especially if it's a serious type of situation, or you're scared or anything like that. Why is that? That needs to be changed. We didn't used to do that. City councils are the people who set the policies for the police, so they can actually change that, you guys. Now, that's number one thing that needs to be done. That's simple. The number two thing, which I said, was the advocating to the state level to fix the bail reform and the raise the age laws. And we can do that very simply. Call them out, let the people know who is actually responsible for these different issues in these laws, and demand that the laws are changed. It's not complicated. It's just that they don't want to do these type of situations. We could also actually make a proclamation to start off that says that this is another part of the solution, that crime is unacceptable. And I never in my life thought that I would have to say that we need a proclamation to say that crime is unacceptable in our city. But clearly, we let crime go unimpeded and abated. What are we doing? What are we doing as a city? So we need a proclamation that says crime is bad. And that's blows my mind that we need something like that. But it's very clear that we need something like that. I believe also that we should be able to create local penalties and stuff like that. I'd introduce different laws in relation to increasing the issues that, I'd introduce legislation that would increase the severity for things like vandalism and things like that are actually in the city, that are happening, that can be actually addressed by city council. That's something that can be done. It's a start, and we'll have to fight with the state over a number of pieces of legislation. But honestly, I'd like to try to write legislation to actually start to lock up some of these criminals and hold them in the city. Maybe the city needs to make its own detention facilities. And people will say, well, that's not legal. Well, you're going to fight the city to not lock up criminals? I want to see them explain that in the next election cycle on the state level. Because if we can't do that, if you're going to challenge us against that, then you're the problem. You're the problem. Show the people that you're the problem. Because the way that laws work is the city council can pass any law that they want, okay, until somebody takes it to court, and then the judge finds it unenforceable. But if criminals are supposed to be being taken off the street, or people's lives, liberty, and freedom are being taken away from them and interfered with, and their ability to have the pursuit of happiness, something needs to be done, clearly. But there's more stuff that goes along with that. I believe that we need to actually look into using the municipal home rule law, and that gets more technical. I'd talk about that at another time. Now, some other stuff that we can do is we need to make it so that recruiting is done better. And I've got a couple of concepts of programs that we could do for that, for recruiting, including a program to get people into the police force starting in high school. And I put this out. This is funny because I put this out last year, I put it out the year before that. I put this because I give my solutions to city council, because it's not about being in the office, it's about getting the daggone thing done. So finally, the police are starting to re-enter this type of a program for, I believe it's like police explorers or something like that. But that's a concept similar to something that I was encouraging to actually do, which is like the youth police training. And what you can do is you can do that in like a similar to an ROTC program, but they can matriculate right out of school, right into the police force. Like no lines, no waiting. So my plan will be a little more extensive. These plans are all on my website. You can go look them up in the My Plans section if you hit the main menu. So that's definitely something that's very, very, very important. I also have the solution for police presence in different neighborhoods. It's a program called Police Blocks. And essentially what it would do is it would allow people to have little small, like, think of like the boxes that you see on construction sites that look like containers, like we could put those as little like mini police reporting stations. And we can also use them as a resource hub for the community. So we'd have one light duty officer there or a training officer there that can just listen to the concerns in the different communities. Now we've got all of these empty lots that are all spread across our city, and most of the empty lots are in the highest impact neighborhoods of crime. So if we just plop one of those right there on one of these places, it'll start to actually develop more of a relationship with people in the community. And that's a good thing. We can also actually have somebody maybe once a week or so come in from resources or social services or something. There's a resource office in the city. I forget what it's called. It used to be attached to the police force. If you know what it is, what it's called now, drop it in the comments. But we can have somebody from there or even somebody from the county that can connect people with resources come in there once a week. Like real solutions that are tangible, that are cost effective, that are implementable. Even somebody that's light duty officer or somebody that's retired, give them some option to actually have some extra work, because we know that even being retired right now, a lot of people that are retired need to work. And I've got a number of other solutions. Again, check out my website, Marcus4Rochester.com. Make sure you get out and vote for me either now in early voting or November 4th, which is election day, and share this video and get the message out there. Now, I want to go in and I want to try to go through some of these other things a little expeditiously. So I want to talk about improving educational opportunity. I know we said we were going to get back to this, and now here we are. The biggest issue is that our school system and school in general is supposed to prepare students to go into the workforce and be productive members of society. We talked about how most of the kids can't read, can't write, can't do basic math, and 75% of the students right now can't even read. Like, it's crazy. Forget on grade level. We're talking about first grade level, and they're graduating. That's something that seriously needs to be addressed. But what we're seeing is the fact that youth and the students don't see that any of the material that's being taught is of value. We can't save everybody, but there are a number of students who are able to actually achieve more if we give them the opportunity. But the opportunity is being stolen away from the schools. So here are some of my suggestions for that. Rochester Youth Workforce Academy. Okay, Rochester Youth Workforce Academy, RYWA. And we can launch this. It'll be start off with the goal to train about 250 teens and young adults between the ages of 16 and 18 and then also another segment from 19 to 25 every year to get them into good jobs and different fields like healthcare, like law, like emergency services, and other things. Okay. And what it would be is it would be basically what will be is a 12 to 24 week worth of courses. So it would be hands-on training. What it would be is also not just hands-on training, paid internships, right? Because one of the biggest things that you hear is that, oh, well, the youth, they need to be paid to do stuff, right? We've got all this workforce development money that the city is always bragging about, that the county is always bragging about, that the state is always bragging about. Oh, the workforce development money, millions and millions and millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars. Drink water, stay hydrated. Tens of millions of dollars, but we don't really see the impact of it. So the youth in this program would learn skills for jobs that are actually hiring right now. And they learn skills for jobs that are very urgent, like nursing, like welding, like paralegal work, which can lead them to a actual job later on, being a lawyer, if that's something that they decide they want to get into. EMT preparation, and even pre-med for future doctors. So things like that. And this is a real solution. And there will be other career paths that I'd like to add in it, again, with lawyer development education. I'd like to do the ambulance and trauma training and pre-medical. Those are just some of the things. We can work with partnerships with REOC, with Monroe Community College, with SUNY Brockport, with Rochester Works, and other local businesses that are hiring, like Wegmans, University of Rochester, the Medical Center people, and with unions as well. Okay, we can work with the unions as well to train these people for the jobs. You know, you used to be able to start to be an apprentice at 13. Why can we not do that now? If the whole goal of school is to create productive members of society and give the youth the education that they need to be those productive members of society and get a job and stuff like that, why are we taking so long to train them up in a way that is right and something that's going to be able to put money in their pockets and actually fulfill them? Why? You know, sometimes the old ways were better. And this is a solution to actually address this issue. Now, here's a little bit of a technical note. We can start this next year or the year after, depending on what the budget is. And we can start with about 125 youth, and we can partner with Rochester Works and stuff where there are grants and things like that. We can get different grants for like $6,000 per student. And we can use MCC's new training center that they've got, which is like, they pay just like $70 million, you know, and then we could work on expanding it later on. Then I also have the Rochester After School Scholars Project, which would be the RASS. Okay. And that would bring the ability for kids that need extra training and extra tutoring and stuff in school. And that'll be right after school for them. Because for some reason, we don't have a good enough tutoring system in our city. Like, I had to fight in the last year's budget to get more funding for after school tutoring at rec centers. Why I got to fight the city to get more funding for tutoring at rec centers. I came up through the Boys and Girls Club. I came up through Swan. They used to have tutoring there. And you mean to tell me I got to fight with the city to put tutoring in rec centers and get more money for the people to do the tutor? Like, what is, like, it just blows my mind. It blows my mind. But again, it goes back to priorities and how our city council isn't having the appropriate priorities. So this is a solution for that. And what it would be essentially is we could do it at 5 library branches and the 10 city rec centers. And it would be from 4 to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday. And the kids can work in small groups with different teachers and volunteers, even volunteers from college, using tools like Khan Academy and other such things like that. We'd also focus on tutors with Spanish language and English language, where they can actually work with different people, because we got a large population of Hispanic speakers, of Spanish speakers. about 19%, 19.1%. So that's something that's important too. And we can get parents to help with the workshops and the training as well. Now, we can partner with the school district. We can also partner with the library and MCC and Rochester Works and other nonprofits like the Urban League. So again, real solutions. Now, the program will cost about $100,000 to start. And then as we grow, hopefully we can grow up to 1,000 students. And then at that point, it'd be about $400,000 a year. Now, there's different that can be paid with city funds, state funds, there's education grants, and even library support. So there are ways to fund these programs. And again, I'm about practical, financially responsible, and the actual implementation being something that's realistic. And this is something that's realistic. And the goal here will be to increase the graduation rate and get youth into jobs and apprenticeships. So this is something that really, really, really can be done and should be done. So these are some of the solutions that I have. And I got other things too, but I encourage you, please hit share, hit the like button, get this message out there and encourage people to go vote for me, Marcus C. Williams, for Rochester City Council. You can vote for me no matter what your party is, Democrat, Independent, working families, conservative, whatever. You can vote for me. Just look for my name. I'll be on the conservative line and just check it. And tell 10 of your friends, tell 20 of your friends, tell all of your family, tell everybody in your neighborhood to get out and vote for me so that we can get some real representation with some real solid ideas and proposals and somebody that we're going to be able to actually get stuff addressed with. Because this is more of the things that we need. I also have a plan to expand municipal internet service and start with municipal broadband. Now, there was just a grant where the county is working on expanding some of the broadband stuff where they're like, it's like $30 or $25 and stuff like that. It's kind of unclear the longevity of that program or how that's going to work. But again, I put this idea out before they put that out there because a lot of people can't really afford it. And many of the real good rates start off at like $50 a month. So my proposal was to launch a municipal broadband where it's between about 100 megabytes of download speed for about $20 to $30 and add VoIP, voice over internet, calling for $10 a month. And we can pilot something like that at about 5,000 homes and take about a year to get off the ground. And there is money. See, again, I'm thinking forward of how to save you tax money, right? There is money. It's between $10 and $15 million that we can get from the BEAD grants. So that's an option. And then for youth and business incentives, we can start it off with $10 a month for businesses for 500 megabytes, okay, for them and for schools and stuff like that. Now, we already talked about how much it costs for competition and stuff like that. And the goal would eventually be to get to 500 megabytes of speed by 2030 for $15, which will be a savings of about $5 million a year. And that would cost us about $2 million that we can all fund with grants. Again, I've planned all this stuff out. I got all of my solutions are real tangible and all of them can be funded. The cost and the analysis and all of that, it's on my website, Marcus4Rochester.com. And please donate. We only got a couple days left. The link is right there and you can see it right over here in the QR code, donate, so we can get some more ads out to let more people know. We only got a couple days left. So that's for that. Now let's talk about another plan, real solutions, because this is what I'm about, you guys, real solutions. Let's talk about green living and environmental stewardship, right? There's a lot of talk about, oh, we need to be more green friendly and we need to be more environmental conscious and stuff like that. I'm an environmentalist, right? At least, I'm more of an environmental conservationist because environmentalist now is a dirty word because these people that call themselves greenies have hijacked environmental conservation, and I'm a true environmental conservationist. There are a couple of issues that we can address here locally with the environment that are problematic, that are actually implementable, actually cost effective, and aren't going to cause problems. So check me out. here are some of the things that we can do. We're going to address the following issues: light pollution from the blue LEDs that affect not only human issues like your circadian rhythm, your ability to sleep. It also affects the plants and nature and the animals and stuff like that. So if we're going to say we care about the environment, let's show them. We can switch those to amber LEDs, like similar to like the sodium lights that we used to have, that type of color, because that's better for the environment. Now we can start up a pilot program with that, with about a few hundred lights, and we can get $500,000 in grants for that. The money's already out there. The second issue is food waste and waste management and recycling insufficiencies. If you guys didn't know, the majority, like it's like 95% of everything that we put in the recycling bin ends up in the garbage dump. So that's a big issue. So I'd work on expanding composting here locally. Okay, and we can do it here locally. I'd say we'd put about $100,000 into that. Again, there are various things that we can do to get that money. I've got different resources on my website to explain it. We can also work on programs to address the decline in pollinators. I was just over on Upper Monroe at their garden that they had over there, and we were talking about the bees that they have there and how there was this push to get rid of the bees and only make it for commercial use. And that's crazy when we have such an issue with pollinators. But that also goes back to the way that we have people maintain their yards. So what we should do and we should focus on is promoting natural gardens and promoting natural gardens with local species. Okay. And we can do a pilot program of about 500 gardens, and there are about $200,000 worth of grants that we can get for that. Now, also, again, I already talked a little bit earlier, but it ties into this, a home farming program. And that is something that we can do to promote victory gardens. I'd also suggest on top of that, 2 chickens for every house, so, and it sounds like a joke. I'm serious, because chickens produce eggs. They also eat food waste. So this cuts down on food waste in our garbage and stuff like that. Now, in order to get these chickens and to get the help for the at-home victory gardens, we would set up a program where they teach the people about how to take care of the chickens and how to take care of the garden and stuff like that. And then we'd allow them to get 2 chickens. So setting this up to start this off, we can do about 200 gardens and about 100 sets of chickens. This would be about 200 chickens, because 2 per household. And it would only cost about $150,000 to start up. So that would help people be more food secure right in their own home. Like if we're talking about food security is an issue, here is a real solution. Victory gardens and allowing people 2 chickens per household, that we can actually get them 2 chickens per household and teach them how to take care of them. Of course, again, if you're just tuning in, hit the like button, hit the heart, and share this and get it out there. This is a real solution. They've done these things in other areas. So I'm not just pulling these things out of my nose. It's real, it's feasible, and we can actually do this. Now, we can cut back on light pollution 40% with what I'm talking about. We can cut back on 5,000 tons of food waste, which amounts into over $500,000 in savings. And that's not even including the food savings that people will now get from being able to grow their own food and have their own chickens and their own eggs. And somebody might say, well, Marcus, what if they want to eat the chickens? That's your prerogative. We gave you 2 chickens. You decided you wanted to eat them instead of using them for the eggs. That's on you. You know what I'm saying? But the solution is here. We have these as solutions. So that's some of the things I'd address. Again, implementable, practical, fiscally responsibility. Okay, fiscally responsible. All of these things are what I'm proposing with all of these different concepts that I'm putting out there to you guys. Real solutions. And this is why I'm encouraging you to go vote for me and tell everybody else to go vote for me. Now, as far as addressing Rochester's energy issues, which it's very clear City Council doesn't give a flying monkey's uncle about, And it's crazy to me that every time something comes up that's an issue, city council just abdicates their duty and they blame it on somebody else. Oh, it's the federal government. Usually it's mostly the state. That's really the problem, not the federal government. But they don't want to talk about that because they actually talked about the state. That means that they'd have to hold people accountable from their own party because the whole state is blue as far as representation. The Republicans don't have a majority anywhere. Okay, as far as state level, they got the Democrats have a supermajority in the state assembly, and they got a majority in the Senate. So the Republicans can't pass nothing or even really do much of nothing, even if they wanted to. But there's no accountability from city council to the state level because they're Democrats, and those Democrats on the state level might do something to prevent these people here locally from getting reelected. I don't care about that. I care about serving my community and showing you what real representation looks like. Let's jump into some of these energy solutions addressing the issues with RG&E and the costs, right? So some of the costs are real simple. Everybody's got issues with the billings. People don't like these smart meters. The energy is being pushed more and more and more into electricity. So energy costs for that are going up because they want everything to be electric. So the price is going to go up because the state is shutting down power plants. I don't know why the state would be shutting down power plants when you're trying to push everything to electric. So we need more power plants. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. They shut down a number of electric power plants, the state is powered mostly by natural gas for the electric. Over 51% is powered by natural gas. They've shut down dozens of natural gas energy generation plants, and they've shut down at least 2 that I know of nuclear plants, and they've got other ones that they were trying to shut down. The whole thing is crazy. Like they're stretching us thin, and you wonder why your bill is going up. It's because of the state. But it's also going up because our city council won't stand up for us, and that's their job. So some of the action items are this. We need a dedicated helpline for our citizens to address up to 2,000 billing cases, so we can do that and implement that over the next year or so. It costs us about $200,000, but we can start addressing these issues with RG&E. You know what I'm saying? I'd like to know what happened to that RG&E money that the city, excuse me, not the city, but the state sued RG&E and said, oh, RG&E is billing people wrong, so we're going to sue them for money. Where'd that money go? Did you get a check back? Did you get a refund check from the state in relation to the money that they got from RG&E? No, but you're the one that did it, but the state took your money yet again, as they always do. Don't get me started. But the smart meter issue is very serious. A lot of people don't understand the electromagnetic waves and frequencies that it gives off, that it actually interacts bad with a lot of the human body, but more so than that, it is increasing people's actual bills. We should start to ask why. That needs to be looked into. But instead of it being set up as the way that they have it right now, where it's you have to opt out and you have to jump through 1,000 hoops to not get a smart meter, and then they want to charge you more, even though they're charging you more for everything anyway, it needs to be an opt-in, okay? And we need to put that in law because clearly they do whatever they want. So we're going to put an end to that nonsense because I know a lot of you out there have complained to me about that. Now, a big thing for a lot of people is they're pushing right now, RG&E should be a municipal utility. Well, what does that look like? And when you talk to the people that talk about it, they don't have a real plan. I have a real plan to start to move us in that direction. But it's not an all-at-once plan because you can't do it all at once. You're saying, oh, well, we should buy all the infrastructure. Okay. Well, if you buy the infrastructure, who are you going to buy the energy from? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't control the energy. You don't control anything. It doesn't matter about the infrastructure. Now you got infrastructure that you're going to have to charge people for, and you don't even control the energy coming in. How you going to lower prices? Who's stupid? I'm not stupid. You're not stupid. I don't think you're stupid, but they think you're stupid. And they're playing in your face. So here's my solution. We actually work on expanding the hydroelectric that we have here in Rochester because we got high falls, mid falls, low falls. we're not using them for the hydroelectric generation that we could. We also have the canal, and we also have the river that we can be using for micro hydro. But these are conversations that are real and things that we can really do that are being underutilized. I'd also push for SMR sites. And right now, the federal government is giving out huge grants, $2 million to $100 million worth of grants for SMR sites, which are small modular reactors, which are extremely efficient. And anybody that says anything, oh, I don't want that, or whatever the case is, we got Gunay. Gunay is right up the street, okay? And it's 3 times older than I am. And it's the longest running consistently nuclear energy power plant in the nation. It's 15 minutes from here. It's out by Webster, okay? You understand what I'm saying? So I'm talking about something much smaller and much more efficient that actually produces a ton more energy that we can actually use to start to move in the direction of a municipal energy system in our city, because we have to control the energy creation if it even makes it any sense to have a municipal utility. Because otherwise, you're going to be at the mercy of who's ever selling the energy. And it's very clear that the state can't pull their head out of their behind when they keep shutting down and reallocating where the funds are going for energy development. You know what I'm saying? Putting all this investment into solar panels and stuff like that, which we know cost comparatively is not going to work on scale. This is the point. If you're talking about somebody wants to put them on their house, that's fine. But you're talking about you're going to power the whole city with it. That's not realistic. Okay? They'd have to clear cut 500 miles of forest just to build enough solar panels, okay, to power the energy power plan that they have for 2030. And then they need to cut down another 1,500 square miles just for the battery backup. I've already done the research. I've looked into this. This is very important to me. Okay? So it's not feasible. So those are the hydroelectric, small modular is what the way to go. And these are real solutions that there is money out there for. Now, long term, we can push to create a municipal utility, but we have to have control over the energy. And with my proposal, that'll end up saving us about $10 million by, if we can scale it to about 200 megawatts by 2035. And we can do that all by using about 100 million to 200 million in grants that's coming from the Department of Energy. Again, I got all of this out, all of it's on my website. You can go look it up, Marcus, the number 4 Rochester.com. These are real solutions. These are real solutions. So feasibly, what I'm looking to do is increase hydroelectric, set up SMR sites, look to prep those and look for the grants and see if it's feasible where we can possibly put one, and then work on fixing at least 2,000 people's bills and getting those issues addressed. And then we can also, with what I'm proposing with the power and stuff like that, we can power over 100,000 homes and 100 businesses. Okay? It's not the solution to everything, but it's a solution to start off and to really start to move us forward with real direction. But we're not getting any of that from city council right now. And this is what is very important to me. And I encourage you guys, hit the like button, hit the share button, drop a comment below, because that helps the algorithm. Just even a thumbs up, or I voted for you, or I'm going to vote for you, or a wave or a heart. Just drop something and hit the like button too. And share this out to all your friends. Now, before we go into the next section, which is about personal safety that I want to talk to you about, I want you guys to make sure that if you can, whether you can donate $25 or whether it's $500, please donate so we can get some more advertisements out there. We've only got a couple of days left to finish getting the word out. So right here, you can see you can donate online. Okay. Marcus, the number 4 Rochester.com/donate. You can donate right there, or you can just click the website and it'll actually allow you to donate right from the website. Also over here is a scan code. You can scan the scan code. Now, let's talk about empowering the citizens for personal safety, because people don't feel safe. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can tell me it's safe all day long. If people don't feel safe, they're not safe. It's very simple. You know, we got the crime is out of control. We got ridiculous firearms restrictions on law-abiding citizens. Criminals got all the guns, but for you as a law-abiding citizen, it's difficult for you to protect yourself. or to even own a firearm in the city. Then people are scared about their property and damage to their property, or their property being stolen or break-ins to their homes and stuff like that. And it takes a long time even to get your permit. So that's something that's very serious, because it's got to go all these processing things and stuff like that through the RPD. And it takes longer in the city than it does anywhere else in the county. It's crazy. Up to 18 months, I'm hearing now, in the city, in certain places, in certain people that have been doing it. It's crazy. But in other parts of the county, you get it in 3-4 months, sometimes less. So what are the action items for this? One, my first one would be repealing the firing range ban that's in the city. That's right. You need all of this training and stuff to actually get your pistol permit, but you can't have a firing range in the city. So now we know that the people that are the fastest growing number of firearms ownerships are Black women. Now, lots of Black women have children. The people that live in the most underserved communities that are Black women that feel the most at risk, especially the ones that have children or are working, traveling out to go to gun range is not only time prohibitive, it's also additionally cost prohibitive. So the first thing I would do is work to repeal the firing range ban in the city. We need at least one firing range so that people can actually train here. It's ridiculous. I'd also push, and Lord willing, I could get this one done. I can't promise you on this one. The other stuff I can say for sure, we can really push for it and start to make stuff happen. This one I can't promise you, but it would be a dream of dreams. Push for a proclamation that we uphold the Second Amendment. Okay, and we uphold the First Amendment. Okay, that's very important to me, because it's the First Amendment is very, very important. I talk about that at length. I don't want to really jump into that very much right now, but the Second Amendment is very important too, because it's like these people that are on city council, they hate the Second Amendment. They don't want you to be able to protect yourself, but they're also the ones that are pushed to defund the police and get rid of the police. Make it make sense. You don't want any police, and I can't protect myself. Who's stupid? What are you trying to do to us? What have you done to us? Like, it's crazy. So that, and then I'd also push to amend the fencing laws. Okay. I'd push to amend the fence laws that allow you up to an 8-foot fence. I believe that you should be allowed a taller fence, because these little rinky dink fence ain't stopping nobody. You can get an 8-foot fence. We can reduce crime 10%. We can reduce break-ins, guaranteed. Okay. If we increase the fence size just to 8 feet. These are important things, simple things, cost-effective things, and it doesn't cost the city anything to amend that law. Well, I mean, paperwork fees, but that's it. So these are all very implementable. Another thing that we can do is I'd push for the city to cover the cost of anybody in the city that wants to become a law-abiding gun owner, okay, by funding the coverage of the fees for the $140 in fees and the $100 for the training for up to 1,000 permits a year, okay? Up to 1,000 permits a year. It'll cost us about $136,000, but it's well spent, because you should not have your Second Amendment infringed. It's right in there. I really don't get it, how any of this is legal, because it needs to be challenged. Because how are you saying you got to charge people to express their Second Amendment when it's very clear in the Constitution, shall not be infringed? Okay. Taxation is theft. Fees are theft. Tickets is theft. It's all theft. Okay. But that's a separate conversation, Now, and I'd like to streamline the permitting process for firearm ownership as well. I'd like to work on cutting it down from 6 months and 6 to 12 months, which now it's up to 18 months since I originally put this out there. I'd like to cut it down to 90 days by 2027. Okay. And 45 days by 2028, by adding staff to the police specifically for processing this. And it would cost us about $100,000. Okay. Again, feasible, cost effective, and it helps our citizens, and it lowers crime, because you know what? Criminals don't like to be shot. I don't know very many people who like to be shot. I'm sure somebody out there likes to be shot, but criminals don't like to get shot. And if you are carrying, they're less likely to assault you if they know that it's more likely that you're carrying. Okay? Let's be real. Now, one other thing is I do a property grant to increase security for property, right? So we can do it for about $500 in grants for about 200 homes for the first year pilot, which can be completely funded from HUD. There's $100,000 worth of grants that we can get specifically for that. Okay. Now, the expected outcome of this would be we'd end up with about 3,500 extra permit holders in the city that are trained just by 2027. Okay, just under these provisions that I'm working on here, probably even more, but not all of them necessarily would have coverage on the funds for that, depending on how many people push through. Now, it would also cut down about 15% on the property crimes and reduce break-ins 10%. So this is all real stuff that's tangible that can be done. These are real solutions. You guys, I've always been producing real solutions and presenting them to city council because you matter to me. That's why I'm running for city council, because you matter to me. Okay? We don't matter to them. They don't care about us. And somebody's got to stand up for us. This is very serious. What we're experiencing, all of these issues that we've gone through tonight, okay, the crime, the education, the housing, and all of this, okay, the cost of energy, all of this, it's very, very, very important. And I want to jump back into one of the last topics for the evening, which is the housing, because we didn't go through that. I got one more thing after this, but we didn't go through that very much. Now, here are some solutions, right? We talked about home ownership and how we need more home ownership than the renters and how costly it's becoming. So some of the top issues there are the continued bubbling up costs, the homelessness crisis, which they don't even care about. Let's be honest. They don't care about the homelessness crisis. They play in our face. They tell us that they care. They don't really care. They don't, because we have more homeless people every year. We talked about this in the beginning. More homeless people every year, more people in poverty every year. And they put tens of millions of dollars everywhere. We could never find out where it goes. Make it make sense. You know, renters at risk of losing their homes because the properties are being sold. That's a whole nother problem. You can rent, but they're selling all of these properties off and the people are kicking the people out. Like, that is a real issue. I've never once heard anybody on city council talk about that. I've never once heard any of these housing people that care so much about the housing locally talk about that. That is a serious, serious issue. Okay? The housing system is completely broken and they're not looking to address it, but I got some solutions. So first off, number one is they've got all of these big, huge buildings downtown and they're giving them millions of dollars of tax breaks and tax abatements. They don't got to pay taxes, but small homeowners got to pay taxes. Well, how come we don't have the same benefit that they have? They got the money. You got tens of millions of dollars to buy buildings. You got the money to pay the taxes. Okay. But small first-time homeowners and stuff like that, they don't. And that's not even part of the conversation, but it should be. So my solution for that is a 5-year tax abatement for first-time home buyers in the city. Real simple. It's real simple. And it'll offer a 50% tax reduction, okay, for first-time home buyers that buy their home in the city. Okay, and we'll start with a pilot where we do it for up to 100 homes, okay? And I'd like to expand it. If we can expand it even faster, I'd like to do that. But we'd start off with a pilot for 100 homes for the first year, working on expanding it from there. Because I'm going to push the city to recalibrate the way that they're doing these crazy taxes and stuff like that. I also don't like the way that they did the assessments on the people. Talk about, oh, we're lowering taxes, but we're raising your assessment. So now your taxes are actually higher than they were before, even though we didn't really raise taxes. We just raised the assessments and we lowered the taxes. Who's stupid? If I'm paying more money now, you raise the freaking taxes. Who's stupid? You understand what I'm saying? But they play in your face. Is it okay that they play in your face? I don't think so. Please hit the like button, hit the share button, get this out there. It don't cost you nothing. And make sure you go vote for me either tomorrow in early voting. Early voting's open through Monday. Excuse me. When's the second? Early voting's open through Sunday, and then election day is November 4th. So please go vote for me. And then on top of that, I'd also push for renters have first right of refusal. So if you live in a property and they're looking to sell the property, you'd get the first bid on the house. Okay. The only way that they could sell the house is if you turn down that you didn't want to buy it. Because what I see a lot of things happen is people that have been renting and living somewhere for years, then the property owner wants to go and sell the property. They don't even know that it's being sold until after it's done. And that's problematic. So that's a way to address that. Now, and this would be very, very important and beneficial to people. I got a whole explanation of how it will work out on my website. So this would also protect about 63% of renters in our city that are experiencing issues from this. This is very, very, very serious. Okay. Now, I'd also encourage to create this program called the Rochester Housing Sustainability Program, which would address the issues with people that are near homelessness, people that are struggling, that are like one paycheck away from being homeless, and they might really need the help, because it's easier to help somebody before they become homeless than after they're homeless. So let's help shore that up. And to do that, what I would suggest is this. Here's, again, real solutions, cost effective, feasible, and I got plans to pay for it too. So $1,000 a month rent help for 3 months. That's it. For 3 months, $1,000 worth of rent help. That's it. Full stop. It would also include job training, case management, and we could pilot this program for up to 200 households. Okay. And I'd like to see it scaled up to 500 afterward. Now, this would be funded completely by HUD grants. So there's about $300,000 we can get from HUD grants. And there's DRHS grants that are worth $500,000. And that would more than cover what we're looking to do with that. Lastly, in this whole situation with the housing and the homelessness, is we need to crack down on the drug trafficking, like for real. Like the drug trafficking is really affecting housing because people are scared to be in the neighborhoods that they're living in because the drug crime is getting worse, or just the drug addicts out there are getting worse. And it's really, really, really becoming a more problem, as well as for property owners, because more people are taking drugs now and they're destroying their properties. So this is important. And we can do this by increasing Rochester Police Department patrols, which might cost us about another $250,000. Also, we can increase community outreach, which would cost us about $150,000. And we could do that all in one period to start that out. And then we can actually work and see how it could be increased. And I'd suggest starting it off in the Southwest. Okay. Because we got practical reasons, amount of police that we have, amount of resources that we have, where there are issues, and where we can actually make a bigger impact. So that's why what I suggest there, that's how we can do it. That's how much it costs. All of this stuff is on my website. Okay. I'm presenting you guys with real plans, real solutions. And it's not new stuff that I'm proposing. This is stuff that I've been proposing to city council for years. So I get very upset when they're like, oh, well, how do we address this issue? How do we address that issue? I've been telling you for years. Almost every year I've released a Marcus's plan for future readiness, okay, for the city, detailing a number of different things that the city can do. Every now and then they do one or two of them. So, but I got real solutions because our city is very important to me and because you matter to me, and I want to see our city flourish. It's that simple. And we get a lot of lip service from city council, but nobody really does anything. They don't. They sit there. Mary Lupian is a great example of telling the truth on yourself sometimes. She said a couple of months ago when she was running for mayor, oh, well, we're a legislative body, but we don't do any legislation. Hold on. What did I hear? Hello? What did you just say? You're a legislative body, but you don't write any legislation. That's your whole job. Like, you just admitted the truth. She said the quiet part out loud that we've all known for years. And that's always been my biggest problem with these people. I present them with solutions that they need to put into legislation. They never put any legislation in. Never. It's all go along to get along. And that's one of the biggest frustrations that I have with these people. Biggest frustrations. Now, I want to go back to the crime, and I want to talk about the youth police corps. This I didn't talk about last time when I was talking about the crime. We did talk about how the police are redoing the Police Explorer program, or whatever they're calling it now. But my program is a little more extensive, which is crazy because I put this out before, and then the police did this, and I put this out months and months and months ago. And I've been suggesting this for the last couple of years. So it's very interesting how that works out. But it's a good idea. So I'm glad that they took it up, partially at least. What it would be is it would be a program that trains youth that's 16 to 18 for careers in the police, and it pays them to actually do the training and the work, and it keeps them out of trouble, right? Like, that's one of the big things that we want them to see opportunities for the future, and we can pilot it by starting it with 25 students, and that would be real simple, teaching them skills that are policing skills and teaching them life skills as well, because a lot of youth need that. That's very important. It'll also teach them camaraderie, and we can teach them fitness, which is more than anything such a problem in our area, because so many people have health problems just because of the lack of fitness. So this would help with that. And they'd be working and helping at RPD stations, and they'd be walking with officers and shadowing officers or other police staff, and also put that in tandem with the police boxes, because they can do help with that as well. Go back and look at my solution on the police boxes. I was talking about that a couple minutes ago. So this is real serious, and it's a real proposal. Costs us about $100,000 to start up, and then it'll be about $200,000 a year for stipends and staff. Again, because we're going to pay them to do the program, so that they can bring some stuff into home. So, and there's actually money from the DOJ that we can get for this program. So, real solutions. We can also partner with places like MCC, which already has a very serious criminal justice program to help get people into law enforcement. And it's all about getting younger youth into different positions where they can get more experience before they're let out into the world. And that way they can be more productive members of society and go right into the workforce, which is another desperate thing that we so seriously need. Now, these are a lot of the different ideas and solutions. I've got tons of them. I got books full of them, of legislation and policies that we can implement here that I've written up. I'm so serious about this, you guys. I believe in our city, and I'm fighting for you. And that's why I encourage you to vote for me, and tell all your friends, your family, make some phone calls, call in your Rolodex, tell them to tell their friends to vote for me. We can really pull this thing across the line, but it's going to be out to us getting out to vote. Early voting ends on Sunday, and then election day is on Tuesday. Help me spread the word. Hit the share button, hit the like button, hit the heart, drop a comment. It doesn't cost you anything to do any of those things. That's a start. And make some phone calls. Tell your friends. Tell the people at church. Okay? This is something that I'm doing for the people, not for myself, because you matter. And let me tell you this. I'm not going anywhere. I love my city. My city is where my heart is. Rochester is where my heart is. Okay? And I would never prioritize anybody over our city. Okay? And our citizens. You are my priority. Not these shady nonprofits, not downstate people that are money funneling, not the security of this position that I'm running for election for. I don't care about none of that. I care about you, and you knowing that you've got somebody that's going to really represent you. And I want to show you what real representation looks like. Maybe they'll try to run me out with pitchforks because I stood up too much. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they'll try to censor me because I stood up too much and pointed out important things to the community and brought it back to your attention. I might be one term. if I get in there because I've rattled too many bushes. Because I want you guys to understand what's going on and what it looks like to have actual representation. Because we don't have that now. Real representation matters. And I want to give you a real reason to believe and have hope. Have hope, you guys. Go vote. Vote Marcus C. Williams for Rochester City Council. You do not have to change your party to vote for me. Whether you're Democrat, Independent, Conservative, Republican, Working Families Party, whatever, you can vote for me. Just look for my name. I'll be on the conservative line. You just check my name. You don't even need to change your party to do it. And I need you to get out and vote. Turnout is low right now, and that's okay. And you don't have to vote for anybody else on the ballot. I'm not asking you to vote for anybody else on the ballot. Just vote for me. Okay? You don't have to vote for everybody. If you feel like you don't know who to vote for other things, just vote for me for city council. That's it. I'm not asking you for a ton. I'm not asking you for to do any vote anybody else or anything like that. I'm asking you to vote for me. Okay? I would say if you're not happy with the mayor, please consider Louis Sabo. Okay, I know him. He's a solid dude. Give him a consideration for your vote if you're looking for somebody different than Malik. That's my plug for him. Okay, but that's your decision, and I'm not asking you to do any of that. But I'm asking you to vote for me. That's what I'm asking. I'm not asking you to vote for anybody else. But I would encourage you to look into Louis. Okay, but vote for me. Because I'm really fighting for you guys. I've been fighting for you guys. I've been standing up for the community. I've been pushing back against the insanity that city council is doing. I've been pushing back against the malfeasance that they've been on. I've been pushing to shed some light on the different policies and things that are going on city council because they're not bringing it to you. And they're supposed to bring the legislation to you and show you what's going on. There's no transparency there. And a lot of these people ran on transparency. They won't even show you the stuff that they're voting on before they vote on it. That one bill I was telling you about, with the men are allowed to be in the bathroom and the showers with little girls and women in rec centers and pools and stuff like that. Do you know that the text of the bill that they voted on was not available for 2 weeks after they voted it into law? Explain that to me. Explain how you vote on a law and then the law that you voted on isn't available to the public for 2 weeks. If they do it for that, imagine how many other things they're doing it for. And does that mean that you're changing stuff in the legislation if you're not releasing it? Like, what is going on there? No transparency whatsoever. And we deserve so much better. And this is why I'm fighting, because I believe in you. I believe in our city, and I believe in our future. It's so disgusting, it makes me want to spit. You know, let me say this. I'm going to fight for you. Point blank. I'm going to stand for you. I'm not going to shut up either. Because my job as a representative would be to the people, not to political party, not to some donors that other people are beholden to, not to downstate people, not to nobody, to you. Okay? To you. And somebody needs to represent us. I wish we had one person on there that represented me, that I know that I can go to and I can address these issues and that would vote in favor of the things that I wanted them to as a citizen, right? Like, I'm not talking about extraneous stuff or personal pet projects and things like that. I'm talking about public safety. I'm talking about the housing issues. I'm talking about the energy problems. I'm talking about simple stuff like the streets. Like, I'm not talking about things that are ridiculous and far out. I'm talking about the everyday issues, including the education and the jobs, which do not get addressed. All of these jobs that they promised us that never materialized. And I hate to say it, our city is largely Democrat, and the Democrats are all the ones in office. Let me be clear, you guys. If you're not familiar, the only people in office in the city of Rochester for the last almost 60 years have been Democrats. That means that There are no Republicans in office presently. There haven't been for over 60 years. So that means any policies or any lack of addressing an issue or any poorly addressing of an issue or any funding that didn't go where you wanted it to or any funding that did go where you wanted it to, but it didn't materialize anything, all of that has come from Democrat policies. It's real simple. Like, and there's no, somebody say, oh, well, you can't blame somebody or whatever the case is. It's not blame. It's direct attribution. There's nobody else to put the responsibility on except those people because they're the only ones in office. And I point this out directly because if you are a Democrat, you're not getting the service that you deserve. You're not getting the representation that you deserve. And I will represent you. Yes, 100% I am a conservative. But because I am a conservative, I believe in community. I believe in keeping the government out of your business. I believe in keeping your taxes down. And I believe in focusing on your everyday issues. And we're not getting that addressed by these people right now. So I encourage you, vote for me. You don't even need to change your party. I will continue to fight for you. I'm not just a flash in the pan. I'm not going away. I'm not going anywhere. Okay. This matters to me. Our city matters to me. The Lord put on my heart to fight for my city, and I've been doing that for years. I'm not doing this for fame, acclaim, or fortune, or anything, or recognition. I'm doing this so I can actually put policy and legislation forward from city council. Because if I have the ability to do that, I can actually do that. Right now, I just give them things and pieces of legislation or thoughts and concepts and solutions, and it's up to them whether to put it through or promote it or anything like that. And usually they just go along to get along. Like Mary Lupian said, they're a legislative body that doesn't legislate. Well, you're on it, Mary. Why aren't you writing any legislation? This is the problem. And I will stand for you. I don't care what your party is. All of our basic issues, jobs, education, safety, housing, the costs of energy, gas and electric, all of that, it's all the same issues. And we need practical, realistic solutions that are going to be cost effective and actually implementable and doable instead of pie in the sky. We have a serious problem right now as we lead into the future. Crime is high, education is low, and how are we supposed to have an economy that works to build our future? People are fleeing Rochester at rates that have never been seen before because of the cost of housing going up, because of the crime in our city going up, because of the lack of jobs in our city. We have over a 33% poverty rate. And that's just at the adjusted poverty numbers that they do for the ridiculous, I don't even know where it is. What are they calling the poverty rate now? $25,000 a year or something like that. I don't know what they're calling the poverty rate because they use some ridiculous number. When we know good and well, you can make $50,000 a year and you're in poverty. Let's be real. Let's be real. And I know a lot of you guys out there don't make more than $50,000. Actually, the majority of our city doesn't make more than $50,000, which is another crazy thing. But we can't have these real conversations. But if we want to address these issues, we need somebody that's going to represent us. And I will represent you. So share this video. Donate if you can, whatever you can, whether it's $25 or $500 so we can get these last couple of days, get some more ads out. Right down there is the link, Marcus, the number 4, Rochester.com. You can find out more. You can donate right there. There's also the scan code to donate right there. Hit the heart button, hit the like, hit the share. If you're not following or subscribed, do that too. And drop some comments because the comments help the algorithm a lot. Get this out there. These aren't the only plans I have. I have way more plans, but we can't cover them all. It's taken us over an hour, and I didn't even really dig into any of them the way that really do them justice. But I'm fighting for you. I'm standing for you. I'm promoting real solutions. I'm really pushing to make a difference in our community. And again, no matter what your party is, you can vote for me. If you want to see something different, if you want to see real representation, vote for me. Have hope that we can make a difference together. Have hope. Go vote. Vote Marcus C. Williams for Rochester City Council. Early voting is open through Sunday, and Election Day is November 4th if you need to figure out where you need to vote at. You can go to my website. On there, it says where to vote. You click that and you fill it out. It'll give you the information on where to vote. Okay. If you need to do the find out where a open polling site is, please let me know. There's one at 1000 Genesee Street. That is one of the early voting sites. That's the Staybridge Hotel over there. There's another one that's at Edgerton Rec. I believe Edgerton is one of them. Yeah, Edgerton. There's one at Gant Center, I believe, as well still. And there's one that's downtown right at 36 West Main, which is the county building. Okay, those are our early polling sites right here in the city. Okay, go out, vote. Drag 10 of your friends with you. Tell 20 of the people in your Rolodex, tell everybody that you know that lives in the city to get out and vote for me so that we can have real representation, so that you can have somebody that you can have faith in will actually stand up and that will push back against some of the insanity that's going on. But more than that, actually address the issues that we're experiencing every single day. That's what I got for you. Get the message out. I'll catch you guys later. Remember, have hope, go vote, and stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Take action. Y'all be blessed and be well. I'll catch you guys later. Get the message out.